Okay, hi everyone. My name is Jocelyn Schlechter. I'm going to be talking about Sky People, which is actually a dating app in Korea, and the pros and cons, how it works, etc. Um, Sky People was an app that was created by Seoul National University students in 2014. And as most of us probably know, Sky stands for Seoul National Korea and Yonsei University, basically the three most prestigious universities in the country and collectively known as Sky. It enjoys a pretty good ranking in the App Store and in the Google Play Store. In 2019, they had over 300,000 certified users. They boast over 100 couples getting married, the most reliable app in the market, all these things. Basically, how it works is that you first have to sign up, of course, but the sign up process is different for men and women, as you can see on the picture on the left. Men have to, number one, go to any one of these universities, which is quite exhaustive. And then they also, or number two, have to be employed at any of the following places. Mostly large chaebols are very popular. And then the women, on the other hand, are pretty much anybody who wants to create a profile. They could be a freelancer, a job seeker, a student. Like number two, they could be a graduate or undergraduate student. Their degree and their school has to be pre-approved though, but the requirements for each gender, as you can see here, are very different. And once you sign up, you have to be authorized. This looks a little confusing, but I just wanted to show you pretty much how complicated yet serious the authentication process is. So the first picture on the left here is the phone authentication process. To prevent things like catfishing, creating multiple accounts, you have to authorize your actual phone number. And then you also have to authorize your school, as shown in the second picture here. You have to link your school email, then you have to upload a picture of your school ID, you have to answer questions about your school, all of these things so that they know that you actually go to the school or have gone to the school. And then the third one here is actually once you get into the app, you've been authorized. This is what it looks like pretty much. The right-hand side, or the left-hand side, excuse me, are people that like your profile. So at 12:30 p.m. every day, a handful of profiles come to you, and then one more comes at 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. And so it's not like an endless amount of profiles that you can click through. There are certain amounts that you can look at, and those are on the left-hand side. The right-hand side are the profiles that actually have already liked you, or the app puts it actually expresses favor with you. So that's what the app looks like. Before I forget though, the male members in the authentication process, they have to go through an extra screening step, and the women don't. So this includes their degree. They have to verify their degree, their occupation again, and then also where they live. So places like upscale Gangnam or things like that are very, the app looks for things like that. If someone shows up that you like and you want to message them, it actually costs money. It costs about 25 hearts to send one message, which is about $3. And then, so you have to pay that, and then the person you're sending the message to also has to pay that amount. And so every time a new interaction happens, the app pretty much makes 8,600 won. But their motto for this is that, like their reasoning, I suppose, for making this money for each interaction is that if you're paying the price of a cup of coffee, don't you think that these people are genuine? And so the idea is that if they're willing to pay that money, they're genuine. And so in order to help me analyze the app itself, I looked at two different posts, blog posts on Naver Blogs. The first one here is by a username named Chestnut. They had a lot of pretty much good things to say about the app. The first point that they make is that if you're serious about a relationship or even serious about marriage, then this is a good app to use because most of the people that they came across with were serious about these things. And so if you don't want to do a matchmaking agency, this is a good alternative. Another thing, the casual meetings in this second quotation, these are direct quotations, that they talk about, the casual meetings I took to mean blind dating or just general first dates, because blind dating has a lot of pressure attached to it. You don't know who you're meeting, you don't know much about them, and then there's also pressure among friend groups to set each other up on blind dates. And so in the app, you don't have that because you're not necessarily going out with them, and then you also who you're talking to because you've been messaging them. This app is less expensive than matchmaking agencies. Chestnut also says it's a good thing that you can pick your ideal type, or kind of look through very exclusive, highly qualified people, pretty much. And then they also say it's a good thing for male subscribers to have to go through an extra authentication process and screening for where they live, their job, etc., because it adds an element of safety to the app that some other dating apps don't have. However, some cons, and this is a different blogger by the name of Chief Navigator, I believe anyway, said a lot of bad things about the app. They pretty much critiqued it for claiming to be reliable just because a graduate of Seoul National University made it, which pretty much points to a bigger issue of education discrimination in Korea, where Koreans generally think that if you are a graduate of a SKY University, you're pretty much the highest caliber. Whereas I think we all know that education does not necessarily indicate, or like where you went to school does not necessarily indicate your abilities, your personhood, who you are. Whereas in Korea, it's pretty much the only thing that like really big corporations will look for is where you graduated from school. Also, the app is a literally blunt exchange of a man's economic ability and achievements for a woman's looks, because women are not required to tell any of their achievements, which they have some, but they're only based on they're only like judged on their looks, which contributes to an imbalance of power in relationships, very steep imbalance of power. And then the only condition for safety, quote unquote, that the app puts out there is just high education. So the chief navigator pretty much critiques the app for just making safety be high education, because we all know that safety does not have any kind of, or whether you're a good person and really genuine and meeting and developing a relationship does not depend on where you went to school. For the conclusion, basically, the app has many pros and cons. To some people, it might be good, but at the same time, in my opinion, it really just perpetuates bad stereotypes and discrimination, education discrimination, gender discrimination, sexism, everything. And I would not personally recommend it over other apps because it's unnecessarily exclusive. But to some, it might be worth it to find a match over like official, expensive matchmaking agencies. So thank you all for listening. These are my sources as well. Thank you.